is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
The time is 8:45 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here's the news edited by J. Yogaraj and read by Tilani Piris. Sri Lanka to ink MOU with India to implement unitary digital ID program. The draft resolution on Higher Education Scholarship Fund amendment and 2 standing orders of the National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Laws have been passed in Parliament today. The State Minister Channaja Sumana says the COVID vaccination process is being carried out successfully under the guidance of the President. The process of providing compensation to the farmers who have faced cultivation drop during the Maha season due to the use of organic fertilizer has commenced. The first mega rally of the series of rallies of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna will be held tomorrow at the Salgadu grounds at 2 p.m. 1,253 corona patients have been identified today. The death toll hikes as 35 more patients fall victim to COVID-19. And on news overseas, Ukraine crisis, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. And on sports news, Winter Olympics, GB mixed doubles pair lose bronze medal match to Sweden. The Cabinet of Ministers on Monday gave the approval to sign a Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, with India to secure a grant to execute the Unitary Digital Identity Framework in Sri Lanka. President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had tabled the relevant proposal at the Cabinet meeting in his capacity as the Minister of Technology. The government, in a statement, stated that it has decided to prioritize the implementation of Unitary Digital Identity Framework as a national-level program. Under the proposed initiative, it is expected to introduce a personal identity verification device based on biometric data, a digital tool that can represent the identities of individuals in cyberspace and the identification of individual identities that can be accurately verified in digital and physical environments by combining the 2 devices. Following the commencement of the first session of the 9th Parliament, new members were appointed today for 8 parliamentary committees, including the Parliamentary Committee on Public Enterprises and the Public Accounts Committee. These committees will meet in the coming days to elect chairpersons for the committees. Deputy Speaker Ranjit Sembalapitiya informed Parliament of the list of members. The other committees thus appointed are the Committee on Public Petitions, the Committee on Backbenchers, the Legislative Standing Committee, the Standing Orders Committee, the House Committee on Ethics and Privileges. The draft resolution on Higher Education Scholarship Fund amendment and 2 standing orders of National Pharmaceutical Regulatory Laws have been passed in Parliament today. Joining the debate, State Minister Channaja Sumana said the COVID vaccination process is being carried successfully under the guidance of the President. However, some opposition elements are trying to frame a wrong picture about this vaccination. The State Minister also said Sri Lanka purchased 22 million AstraZeneca doses at the rate of $15 and Sinopharm at the rate of $7 due to the diplomatic mediation of the President. As a result, the country was able to save $152 million. The first mega rally of the series of rallies of the Sri Lanka Pudujana Peramuna will be held tomorrow at the Salgadu grounds at 2 p.m. under the patronage of the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa. The ministers, parliamentarians, former provincial councillors and local government representatives will also attend this mega rally. Minister S.M. Chandrasena said all necessary arrangements are made to conduct the mega rally with large gathering under health guidelines. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank.
The Director General of Health Services has confirmed 35 new coronavirus-related fatalities for February 7th, moving the death toll in the country from the virus to 15,656. This includes 22 males and 13 females, according to the Department of Government Information. 5 of the deceased were in the age group of 30 to 59 years, 2 others were aged below 30 years, and the remaining 28 victims were aged 60 years and above. Meanwhile, the Director General of Health Services has confirmed another 1,253 corona patients have been identified today. The Health Ministry reports that another 405 patients who had tested positive for COVID-19 have completed their recovery and have been discharged within the last 24 hours. This brings the total number of coronavirus recoveries in the country thus far to 582,064, while over 23,000 infected patients are currently undergoing treatment across the island. That ends local news for now.
Get extra 10 rupees for every dollar and receive a refund of transaction fees up to rupees 1,000 when depositing funds to a rupee account from People's Bank. These offers are valid until 30th April.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The process of providing compensation to the farmers who have faced a cultivation drop during the Maha season due to the use of organic fertilizer has commenced. A sum of 1,280 million rupees has been allocated for this purpose. The compensation also provided to other crops include green chilies, big onions and potatoes. Around 40,000 farmers and cultivators were provided with compensation based on the estimate made on the loss incurred. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on Watch Light tonight, the health authorities have requested the public to follow health guidelines strictly as the corona infections crossed 1,000 mark for the 7th consecutive day. This cannot be taken easy and the health authorities warned. The Director General of Health Services, Dr. Selagunavardhana, said that it is a high risk for the public to get involved in large gatherings or get-togethers. He requested the public to refrain from travelling between the provinces. He pointed out that 900 to 1,000 corona patients are still being reported daily from the country. Therefore, he emphasized that the pandemic can spread rapidly again if the public act irresponsibly. That came to you in Watchlight. Moving on with world news and the headlines first. Ukraine crisis, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. Canada truckers protests, Trudeau demands an end to trucker protests. Rees-Mogg made Brexit opportunities, Minister as PM reshuffles team. The French President Emmanuel Macron has told reporters that President Vladimir Putin assured him that Russian forces would not ramp up the crisis near Ukraine's borders. I secured an assurance there would be no deterioration or escalation, he said, before meeting Ukraine's leader. However, Russia said any suggestion of a guarantee was not right. Russia has denied any plans to invade Ukraine, but it has assembled more than 100,000 troops near its borders. Canada's Prime Minister has said a protest by truckers that has paralyzed the capital Ottawa has to stop. Justin Trudeau said Canadians were shocked and frankly disgusted by some protesters' behavior, which has reportedly included vandalism and racial abuse. Lorry drivers have been rallying against Canada's COVID vaccine rules. Jacob Rees-Mogg has become the Minister for Brexit Opportunities and Government Efficiency as Boris Johnson carries out a cabinet reshuffle. The Prime Minister, under pressure over parties in Downing Street during the lockdown, is meeting ministers inside Number 10 for what is described as small changes. Mark Spencer replaces Mr. Rees-Mogg as House of Commons leader, and Chris Heaton-Harris becomes the new Chief Whip in charge of discipline, Conservative MPs. Back to the world news headlines. Ukraine crisis, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. Canada truckers protest, Trudeau demands an end to trucker protests. Rees-Mogg made Brexit Opportunities Minister as PM reshuffles team. That ends world news.
Development News is brought to you by Let's take all out of the coconut tree and make the island thriving and prosperous. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928.
And on development news, the Army Commander Shavendra Silva says the mobile vaccination process will commence today at island-wide locations. The mobile vaccination drive will consist many CSR activities, including the mobile unit officials visiting the houses and private organizations for the vaccination purpose. That came to you in development news.
Development news was brought to you by the coconut tree is well grown in almost all the parts of the island. It is an exceptional source of extra income. The shell, the husk and almost all the parts of the coconut tree makes you money, providing you with an excellent extra source of income. It will also help to nourish the economy of the country. You will be guided with all necessary informations regarding the coconut cultivation, with the novel cultivation techniques and all other related and upgraded informations by the Coconut Research Institute, Lunavilla. Call our hotline 1928. WhatsApp 070 400 1928. Sports news is brought to you by
Sampath Bank. We present your future.
Great Britain's wait for their first medal at the Beijing Winter Olympics goes on after curling mixed doubles pair Jen Dodds and Bruce Muart lost their bronze medal match 9-3 to Sweden. The Swedes surged into a 7-1 lead after just 3 ends and never let up. Scots Dodds and Muart, the world champions, were one of the key hopes for Team GB, who have targeted between 3 and 7 medals in Beijing. That came to you in sports news.
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The General Insurance GI claims settlements of 13 insurance companies falling under the purview of the Insurance Association of Sri Lanka, IASL, stood at over 51 billion rupees for the financial year FY 2021, where a total of 816,349 claims were settled during the same period. That was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
Cash through NSP globally and win wonderful gifts locally. Will you be the lucky winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee? 50 gold sovereigns for the top prize winner of the NSP Golden Jubilee. Scooters for the 10 second prize winners. iPhones for the 10 third prize winners. Mountain bikes for the 29 fourth prize winners. From October 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Remit a minimum of $100 or an equivalent amount in any foreign currency 3 times through NSB U Trust.
And on economic news, for the first time in Sri Lanka, Uzbekistan Airlines will launch charter flights to Sri Lanka on a regular basis, and the airline has decided to commence this weekly operation centering the Mattala Rajapaksa International Airport, MRIA. Aitken Spence Travels, together with one of the leading tour operators, will be bringing in the first ever charter flight to Sri Lanka from Uzbekistan from Wednesday. This is an absolute new source market that would generate around 1,200 passengers during these charter flight operations, an official from Aitken Spence said. That concludes economic news. And to conclude the weather report, the Met Department says several spells of showers will occur in the eastern, over northern and north-central provinces and in Hambantota and Matale districts. Showers or thunder showers will occur at a few places in the Sabaragama province and in Kalutara, Nuwara, Galle and Matara districts during the evening or night. Mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. Misty conditions can be expected at some places in the western, Sabaragama, central and north-central provinces during the morning. This weather report was published this morning at 7:30 p.m. Further details could be obtained by visiting the official website of the department. Meanwhile, the International Weather Forecast website AccuWeather.com reports that the day's weather will be bright with occasional showers. Today's daytime temperature was observed to be around 30 degrees Celsius There will be light showers in many places in the Colombo district in the night. Tonight's temperature will be around 25 degrees Celsius and there will be scattered showers in selected spots late in the night. The ground temperature would be 29 degrees Celsius at the time of this news broadcast. The air quality index, AQI, is 29 degrees Celsius, which show fair condition in Colombo. The air quality is generally acceptable for most individuals. However, sensitive groups may experience minor to moderate symptoms from long-term exposure. And now to end this news broadcast, the main points once again. Sri Lanka to ink MOU with India to implement unitary judicial ID program. The draft resolution on Higher Education Scholarship Fund amendment and 2 standing orders of national pharmaceutical regulatory laws have been passed in the Parliament today. The State Minister Channa Jasumana says COVID vaccination process is being carried out successfully under the guidance of the President. The process of providing compensation to the farmers who have faced cultivation drop during the Maha season due to the use of organic fertilizer has commenced. The first mega rally of the series of rallies of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will be held tomorrow at the Salgadu grounds at 2 p.m. 1,253 corona patients have been identified today. The death toll hikes as 35 more patients fall victim to COVID-19. And on overseas news, Ukraine crisis, Macron says Putin pledges no new Ukraine escalation. And in sports news, Winter Olympics, GB mixed doubles pair lose bronze medal match to Sweden. That ends this news broadcast,